welcome back to the Colour Cave, where we like to play with art stuff. My name is Jem and today it is Scrawlrbox unboxing time. Because we're alternating our videos, this is exclusively an unboxing video. We will have a play about with the supplies and there will be a separate video tackling the Scrawler challenge in about a week's time, and we alternate between this and the upcrate so that every box gets a chance to have its own special time for things. So Scrawlrbox is the UK's only art subscription box that comes monthly, and all we have to do these days is pull this tab and we are in. I have a bad feeling about this box, and it's just because I have immensely enjoyed the last 3 Scrawler boxes, so I think I'm due like a bum box, or just one that's not to my taste. Please don't be markers, please don't be markers. So let's get cracked in and see what's going on. So we have our supplies, we have our Scrawler zine, which I've not forgotten about. Oh, look at the artwork. We have a featured artist. Now this is just, this is going straight up on my pin board, I can tell you that right now. This is amazing. Katarina Kmichik. I am really sorry if I have butchered your name. She is Polish. I'm just in love with this. This is like, if I could paint this well, I would be a happy camper, but I can't. That's like painting goals right there. We always get a surface to write on. A surface to draw on, and we have watercolor paper. Oh, a quality control slip as well, thanks for that. So this is 300g cold pressed watercolor paper from Clairefontaine. They are obviously in cahoots with Clairefontaine, which is absolutely fine because they are renowned for producing high quality paper. So I am quite interested to see. It does have that sort of uniform texture that mass produced watercolor paper has. It is very textured, which I quite like personally. Not everyone's taste, to be fair. I'm hoping it'll tell us a little bit more about it in the list of supplies, but there's 8 sheets there, so that's plenty of paper to be getting on with. Let's take a look in here. So hopefully there's some paint or a brush or something in here, otherwise we might be in trouble. Now here's our list of supplies, which we'll look at in a minute because we don't want to spoil it. Here's our Scrawlrbox sticker, and that should match the front of our Scrawler zine, which it does. And we've got our sweet as well. Looks like a boiled sweet to me, but what do I know? Right, let's start off with these. So we've got 2 Derwent sketching pencils. One is an 8B and one is a 4B. I already have one of these pencils. I think it's a medium 4B I've got. So basically these operate just like a graphite pencil, but they are water soluble, so you go over the top of them, you can squish them about, you get some really interesting techniques. I like using these in conjunction with the Derwent Graphite pencils, which are another type of water soluble pencil. So yeah, these are pretty good. The only thing I don't like about these is the fact that the barrels are round, and when I am sketching I find that quite hard on my hand, and this is my old injured hand, which happens to be my dominant hand. So if I'm doing a lot of detail for any length of time, I start to struggle with these round pencils. That's just me. They are good pencils. We've got an eraser here, a natural rubber eraser. It's a Contour eraser. So we've got 3 tubes of paint. We've got, this is liquid pencil and it's re-wettable. Liquid pencil. And we have blue, yellow and grey 9. So that's quite interesting. They've got these wee pop caps on them as well. They're not screw caps. You can unscrew them, but you can pop them off as well. They're really cool. I love that idea on these little tubes. I'm assuming that's sealed in there. Yeah, it's sealed. So I don't know how we're going to pop it open, but okay. And we have a brush. Oh, we've had a brush like this before, so it's a number 10. Yeah, that'll be good for something, I would think. I'm beginning to get quite a collection of Scrawlrbox paintbrushes. Right, so let's have a look at the little supplies list and see what's what. Okay, so liquid pencil tubes. It's an innovative graphite paint that allows you to create authentic graphite pencil effects and pencil sketches using a liquid medium. Well, that's interesting. Oh, this is fun. It can be thinned with water to allow for the softest of colours to be applied with a brush nib or other art tools. It's great for covering large areas quickly and easily, and the colour can be built up in layers. Due to a precisely balanced formulation, another great benefit of the re-wettable liquid pencil allows you to remove areas using water akin to watercolour techniques. It's possible to lift some pigment with a traditional eraser. Wow, what is this sorcery? Yeah, we're definitely having a go with this. They do, there's little swatches here on the card, and they do look very similar to the Graphite pencils. That's quite interesting. Okay, so the Derwent Water-Soluble sketching pencils. It's not such an uncommon supply. They're not often used, to be fair. So it says here, these have a soft, wide core that makes them perfect for creating loose, bold lines when dry. When you add water, either with a brush or simply by dipping the pencil, the graphite will gently dissolve, lending you to create subtle tonal shifts and softer pencil line work. Okay, the flat synthetic brush, size 10. Perfect instrument for defined and precise brush strokes in your artwork. It has Colonex synthetic hair and a nickel-plated brass ferrule, making it a very attractive addition to your paintbrush collection. Its short mahogany handle makes for comfortable use and is ideal for watercolour applications in all liquid media. The eraser is a two-part eraser. The white end is for erasing medium to light graphite lines, and the grey end is great for erasing darker graphite and ink lines. It is perfect pairing for use with the Derwent liquid pencil. Okay, so it's saying that you'll be able to erase this with this. That's going to be really interesting. So the paper, Etival A5 CP watercolour pad. High quality paper, pure cellulose watercolour paper. It has a slight grain-like texture. No, it doesn't. It has quite a considerable grain-like texture. And a natural white colour made without acid or optical brighteners. It is light resistant and very absorbent, making it ideal for all wet applications, but is suitable for every kind of wet or dry technique. Okay. And the Scrawler challenge is Mother Nature. Okay, so this is quite interesting. Mother Nature, that's a great prompt for me because, well, that's kind of just what I like to do. So let's have a little quick look in the Scrawler zine. So it tells you a little bit about the supplies here. This is like an overview. There's nothing detailed in here that we don't already know from having had a look at our card. There is a mint flavoured boiled sweet. Little bit about our artist here. Look, our artwork's stunning. I think I'm going to have to follow this person on their social media because this artwork is just right up my street. Like, I absolutely love this. She's so talented. Okay, yes, happy. And we have some tips from the artist. The first tip says, don't expect this medium to behave exactly like watercolour. So we'll be bearing that in mind as we go. And here are some of the May Scrawler challenges as well. I love this page. This is so cool. I just like looking at them. Looking at everyone's interpretations. Oh, look at this one. So cool. Scrawler Extra Capturing Nature. So there we go. Talking a bit about that. And also, we're now talking about the trees for the future, which is what these boxes help, like, basically they're good for the environment. That's why they've picked these as their boxes. So that's giving you a little update. With your help, we have planted over 100,000 trees. There you go. Ta-da! Alright, so conveniently I do have some water sitting here and a pipette. So that's quite handy. I have had to go and get some palettes just so that we can smoosh things about if we need to. So I am quite intrigued to try out these supplies. It's really nice to have a supply that I've never had use of before, I've never even heard of. So I'm quite excited about this. And yeah. Yeah, I totally am. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to start with the pencils. We'll try the dark wash. So this is like an 8B. Now this will also show up how textured this paper is. And I have to say, for an 8B, that doesn't feel or look that dark. I'll zoom in a little bit here. You can really see, and you can see how uniform the texture on the paper is. I feel as if there's like almost like a coating on this paper. And here is the medium wash, which is the 4B. And now, I don't know about you, but they don't look too different. Maybe slightly. I've got a water brush here, so we'll save the actual paintbrush for the liquid pencil, but I'll just use a water brush for these. So let's see what happens. Now you can see how I mean, we're talking like super soluble here. You know, there's no kidding on. It's like, oh no, you can dissolve practically every line that you've put down. And it's pretty workable as well. I know that's quite dependent on the paper, but you can get, you know, you've got quite a lot of room for manoeuvre there, and you can push it about quite a bit as well, and you'll get yourself some reasonable results. So just see what this sort of paler bit looks like, and then we'll do this really dark part. I mean, look at that, that's pretty dark. So you can see there where I started that line with the pencil, I've been able to push all that graphite up towards the corner of the paper. So it's, you know, you can do a lot of manipulating with it as long as the paper will take it, and you can keep it wet, you can move it about as much as you want, and it's going to do you a fairly good job. So this is my water brush is clean now, and you can see, now to me, maybe it's just my eye, but this one actually looks darker. And this was supposed to be the medium wash. You'll see it better with this though. But you can see there where the texture of the paper is becoming a non-issue, and it's just because this dissolves so well. So we'll leave that to dry. For me, there doesn't seem to be that much a difference between these two, which is interesting. And I did whack down a fair amount of graphite up here. You know, I was quite heavy-handed with that. Oh, I don't know. It smells like, is it like Savlon? Yeah, it smells like Savlon. That's weird. Okay, I'm going to put the cap back on this though. It's not a strong smell, and it's definitely not like an intrusive or obtrusive smell. So this is the grey, and it is quite runny straight out the tube. Oh god, this is exciting. Okay. So let's see what this looks like. It looks really metallic-y. It looks like some sort of lab created compound. Well, that's interesting. So what happens now if I take some water? This is a really nice brush. It's got a really consistent head on it. This does look, it looks like you've taken like the side of a graphite stick and sort of smeared it along the paper. That's quite interesting. But look, when the brush is a little bit drier, it looks like pencil. Oh, this is amazing. Right, I'm done. I don't need the other two colours. I'm just gonna get started now, and I'll see you guys later. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so let's scoop some of this over here. It's so metallic-y looking, obviously because of the graphite in it. And I'm just gonna, oh look at that. That's 2 drops of water. And let's see how it behaves. I really like the smell of this. I actually like the smell of it, which is weird. So let's see if we can. I mean, that's behaving beautifully. That is just behaving absolutely beautifully. Like, it's really easy to work with. It's super easy to work with. Now, apparently you can layer this up. So I'm going to wait until some of this dries, and we will just see what's what. While we're waiting on that drying, I'd just like to go back up to this graphite situation here, and really there's not a lot in this at all. I think that the medium wash, the paler end of that gradient is paler than the dark wash, but to me that's negligible. So I'll just scoop some of this into here. So this is like proper peely-wally, there's a good Scottish phrase for you, peely-wally, when something's really washed out or pale, including people. You know, sometimes say that if people are looking unwell, you say you're looking very peely-wally. Oh, okay, right, so that's just literally depositing little tiny dollops of graphite onto the paper, if you can see them here. So there comes a point when you can dilute too much, but that is incredibly interesting. I'm really quite enjoying myself here. Is that dry yet? Okay, that's dry. Oh, yeah, it's dry. Okay, so it dries fairly quickly as well. So I want to see what happens if we start layering this up. Okay. The other thing I really wanted to try as well is I wanted to try lifting some of it with the paintbrush, because they did say you could use like a lifting technique, which is the thirsty, I always talk about the thirsty brush technique. And also want to try with an eraser as well, just because I can. So, okay, let's try and, yeah, oh, it's lifting, oh, it's lifting. Look at that, would you look at that? So that is lifting like watercolour. Holy mackerel. What an interesting art supply. This is, This is really interesting. Is this dry? Oh, that's dry, and that feels so like graphite. Right, so with this was the neat grey. What I want to do is I want to try both ends of this eraser on it. So let's try and go through the middle here and see what happens with the white end. And that's not doing much. It's lifting something. Not a lot, but it is lifting something. Well, I'd say that's fairly reasonable. So now I'm going to try this darker end, which is meant for dark graphite and ink, apparently. I've yet to see one of these erasers that actually lifts ink without wrecking the paper. Oh, that feels horrible. Okay. Oh, yep. So that's taken away slightly more graphite than the white end of the eraser. I don't know what it's done to the integrity of the paper underneath it right enough, but yeah, that's lifted quite a lot of graphite, so that's really interesting as well. So we can lift it with water, we can erase it, we can layer it, and now we're going to try mixing it because we can also dilute it. This is like a multi-talented piece of kit. I'm really excited about this, like I really am. I could just live with that grey though. I actually don't need anything else in my life. Maybe a nice dark green would be cool, but... Right, so let's see now what is going to happen here. The paintbrush so far, it behaves really well. I quite like these synthetic brushes. They seem to be quite consistent. They carry a little bit of paint. They don't hold a lot of water, which is, for someone that likes to do a lot of watercolour, that can be a bit of an issue because it means you have to go back and forth quite a lot. But I quite like them, and I do like a flat brush around this size because they're actually surprisingly versatile. So let's have a little go with this. This looks more gold than yellow. Yeah, that looks like a dirty snotty yellow. Okay, let's add a couple of drops of water. So I'm just using the same dilutions as I did for the graphite, the grey, sorry, the graphite. Okay, that's interesting. And then let's try and flood it and see what happens. See, I would say, yeah, that's more of like a gold colour rather than yellow. But see, taking into account the that these are, you know, graphite based pigments, then you're going to have very, very subtle colours. Right, let's try this blue now then. I think I'm going to be quite excited by the blue as well, just because I really like indigo type colours, and obviously this is going to be, well, I would imagine that this will be heading in that direction, judging by what I have seen so far. I love how easily it comes out the tube as well without like scooting out. It's like remarkably similar. Oh, okay. Right, so let's try just a couple of drops of water. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Right, definitely done. That's it. We can all go home now. You can see that the yellow's really coming through now once it's dried, so I think that's something that we are going to have to, you know, wait for. Oh goodness me, I flushed that. I've flooded that by accident. I scooted over from the other side. Okay, well that saves me a job. Okay. Well, my, isn't this interesting? I have absolutely no problems at all with this month's Scrawler challenge. That will certainly not be an issue. Okay, the other thing that I want to try out is if we were to draw, like say just for example, I'm drawing a tree, there's a surprise. If we were to draw this tree, say we've just got a little bit of a trunk going on here and maybe there's a little bit of a root that's going to disappear off somewhere. And that's going to come up there. Not that that's particularly important. But if we decide to pop in some graphite as the starting point, you know, maybe you just want to decide where you're going to have some lines of interest or where you're going to have some shadow. Well, this root looks as if it's kind of tucked underneath this one, so we would do that. But then if I am to go in, say I just grab this kind of yellowy goldy colour, and if I start working in with that, it's going to take the graphite pencil with it, and I'm just wondering what kind of effect that is going to give us, given that we've got this yellow tint in the, you know, in the liquid graphite. So there we go, a couple of lines there. I've deliberately taken the graphite pencil with me, and a couple I've tried to avoid it, just to see what that's going to look like when it's dry as well. Because I think ideally what I would want to do is I'd probably work in the liquid pencil first and get in as much as I could with that, and then I could go back in with the sketching pencils and activate them. And again, I think under normal circumstances I would use a water brush to activate them, just so I've got like maximum precision, but because we've got a flat brush, we should be able to manage with that without too much hassle. Yeah, so you can see here this top part's starting to dry already, and it does look quite just sort of dirty and, you know, muddy, and I think we're going to have to give things ample time to dry as well, knowing that even when it's dry we can lift some of some of this liquid graphite, can pull some of that out, so that's really handy. I would love to know your thoughts on these supplies. This is a really interesting box, and I am like super pleased with this. It's intriguing, that's what it is. And creating a piece of artwork with these supplies it's going to be an adventure, and it's going to be a little bit of a challenge, which, you know, is great. Just because this is like proper uncharted territory. But I'm really looking forward to this. I love the colours that we've been given as well. As I say, you could have just given me that grey and that would have been fine. But I am actually really looking forward to the Scrawler challenge now. And especially with the addition of these pencils, although I'm not convinced there's much of a difference between the two of them, but that's kind of by the by. So within the next week, it should be in a week's time, I will have the video up for this month's Scrawler challenge, which, just as a reminder, is Mother Nature. So I would like to thank you all very much for watching. If you've made it this far, if you could just take a wee moment to give me a thumbs up, that would be amazing. I've been saying it's kind of like the internet equivalent of giving me a cuddle, and I like cuddles, so that would be really cool. Keep yourselves safe and look after each other, and we shall see you back in the cave on Thursday for another video. So have a good day everyone, and bye for now.